seems like not that long ago, but we were striving for 100 new hires every single month. And now we're blew past that. I don't think we spent much time at 100 new hires. We were like floating 50, 60, 70 a month. We blew past 100 and pushed close to 200 every single month now, leading the company not only in new business written and new business issued, but we've also been leading the company in the amount of people that we hire collectively as a group every single month for probably about the last almost 2 years.
Wow.
You know, and that's a big secret to all of our successes here. You know, without picking too much on the number one group here at, or the previous, I will say, number one group here at Senior Life, you know, they were stuck around $1 million a month, plus or minus, for, gosh, probably close to 3 years, you know? And he told me a long time ago, we were up in Thomasville, we were at a meeting. At that time, he was doing like, I don't know, $700,000 or $800,000 a month. And at that time, we were doing about 3. So we were doing about half of that, you know? And he says, Doug, you know, we're so far ahead of you guys. You guys, no one's ever going to catch us again. You know, you don't have to tell me much that I'm not going to catch you to make me want to catch you. Now, it doesn't happen extremely quickly. There's a lot of work. And with that work that we did, we got the secret. And the secret is onboarding new hires. And we've been consistently outproducing the entire country here at Senior Life with the amount of new people that we bring on board every single month and every single day, every single year. And then you look, it's a direct correlation between the amount of production that we're doing. You know, folks, that is a huge secret. Now, the second secret is getting those 52 new people to take leads and start writing some business this week, you know. But the first step, though, is to get these new people onboarded, and that's how you grow your business. So I want to talk, let me just skip through this, sorry, because my brain kind of went differently. Talk a lot today about recruiting and building. You know, I could do it, hey, show of hands, but I do know factually that there's probably not a person on this call that does not want to grow and build a large business here at Senior Life. You know, everybody does. We all are seeking that financial freedom. And we spoke a little bit about it last time that we had this topic. If you guys recall, we went over the 90-day game plan. So my first question to each and every one of you is, how many of you, and you don't need to answer, this is rhetorical, but how many of you have actually adopted that 90-day game plan? Okay. How many of you took it serious for the last couple of weeks, the 90-day game plan? You know, the article that I wrote in the Scoop was not to allow your actions to betray your words. And I truly believe that this is probably the single greatest reason, outside of a few other factors, but this is probably the biggest one as to why people are not successful. We talk a big game, but when the rubber meets the road, we don't really do much about it. So the first thing, and I got some notes down here, guys, if I start kind of thumbing through some things, but the first thing that we have to understand if we want to effectively build a large organization is you got to change your mind. You got to get away from the employee mindset and get into the entrepreneurial business ownership mindset. You know, folks, we have an amazing, amazing business and opportunity that is so unlike so many different professions. You know, here at Senior Life in the Blake Group, you don't need a fancy education. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your political preference of choice is. None of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter if you grew up on a country club or not. None of that matters. And I think that's what makes this business so, so amazing, is that anybody can do it. and anybody can do it well if they're willing to learn a few skills that this business requires to be successful. And it's not hard, but here's what I have learned over the years is that if you don't learn them, you have zero chance of being successful. If you can't get unstuck from, that you're the victim status, if you can't get unstuck from that employee mindset and get into a more entrepreneurial business ownership mindset, you have zero chance to win, like I said. Now, a book I read a while ago talked about 3 different categories of people. Now, it's a network marketing group, but still kind of, I think, stands the same in our line of business, which is final expense life insurance. And I will say that I was every single one of these 3 different categories at some point. And I do believe that the 126 people that are on the call today, we're all one of these. And it all kind of starts off in this order. And the ones that get it quickest and move to the final category are the ones that start growing and building their business. The first category is a poser. Now, a poser kind of treats this as like a lottery ticket to a certain degree, where you're just hoping to hit it as big as possible with the least amount of effort, And when I first came on board, not at Senior Life, but at my previous company, I was all fired up. They make it sound so easy, right? Like you're going to make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it's just easy. So immediately, that's like prime breeding grounds for a poser or like a losing type of mentality. I was hoping to kind of be present and it would just happen. And I didn't really have to do much. But I learned pretty quickly that that was never going to happen. And I moved, and some of you may be moving or stuck in that poser category, but maybe moving into this next category. And I think this is where most people kind of hang out in, which is that amateur category. And amateurs tend to focus on different things. They're no longer treating it like a lottery ticket, but what they are, treating it on and maybe blaming their lack of success on is luck, or timing. Am I in the right place? Do I have the right upline? Do I have the right, contract? They're always looking for shortcuts. They do everything and anything but follow the proven system. Oh, well, this company's got cheaper leads and I can get live transfers over here, or I could just go do this and I'll go to a senior center and I'll do that. And they're looking for every little shortcut in the world, and they're just not willing to follow the proven system. When we talk about every single week, we look at that leaderboard. I can go back to it right now. There's not one person on that leaderboard. There's not one person in this organization that's doing enough production to even mention or talk about that's not following our system every single day and getting leads every single day. And going back to our system, we could talk all day long, 20 presentations a week, 9 a.m. your first house, make your first call at 9 a.m., work till dark 30, call you. That's all good and great. But what our system is really and truly, folks, is leads. And it's the ability to work those leads as effectively as possible. A professional is a person who is paid to undertake a specialized set of tasks and to complete them for a fee. And that's what the third category is, folks. It's a professional. And that's what we should all be striving to become. We have to get out of the get rich quick mentality, that microwave mentality. We got to get out of, blaming outside, things like your upline or whatever the case may be. And we got to start thinking like a professional and acting like a professional. David Price said a quote a long time ago, and I think I'm going to use it until the day that I die. And it's, if you want to be a millionaire, act like it. You know, you can't have a millionaire or minimum age work ethic with these millionaire goals. It doesn't work. So you got to start thinking and doing things like professionals. Now, the professionals, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master a particular thing, whether it's a sport or whatever. 10,000 hours. You guys all heard that before, right? 10,000 hours broken up is about 7 years. So just so you guys know where you're at, it's going to take you 7 years to master this business. Now, the cool part is that you're going to learn a lot of things along the way once you decide to become a professional, and you're going to earn a lot of money along the way as you're developing yourself and becoming a professional. Just so long as you get out of that mindset that if it's meant to be, that it's up to you. You know, what we all have to understand is we all have the same products, right? We all sell the same thing, don't we? There's no special group of products for the Price Group. There's no special group of products for Powerhouse or for Bianca. There's no special leads. There's no, everybody has access to the same lead system, to the same mentorship, to the same products. So in my mind, if people are successful selling this and are making a lot of money and are growing and building their business, then it's not the product, it's not the system. What we also have to understand is that we also all have the same comp schedule, and it's right behind me. You guys can see it. Everybody has the same. And everybody has to earn their way to the top. Now, some may look at, let's use David Price as an example. David started off this chart, meaning lower. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he started off on an 80% commission. And David recently just got promoted to senior partner, so you know where he is. And he's earned every single level along the way. David did not start off on 150% commission. David started off with worse of an opportunity than most all of you have on this conference call today. So if we all have the same compensation and people are making money and people are growing and building their business, it's not the compensation plan, is it? Which brings me to that third thing, the only variable, which is you. We know it's going to take 10,000 hours, 7 years. We got to get ourselves to that point where we're making strides to be better in every single category all along the way. We got to give people a story worth watching. Because this is a good and a bad thing now. And I wanted to talk about Power List and building it. We're running out of time. I'll talk about it next week. I'll skip whatever the topic is. We'll talk about this, or if somebody wants to pick up the ball tomorrow and talk more about Power Listing, great. But, you know, you can make the biggest power list that you want. You can have the best posts in the world, but if you're not backing it up with results, you're going to have a hard time growing. What I've learned in the course of my career, especially in growing and building this business, is that people will follow whatever example that you give them. And it's not about what you preach, it's about what you tolerate. And I think those two things are extremely, extremely important in growing your business the right way. People will, I remember early on, you know, and this was maybe when we had 10 agents in the Blake Group. I mean, we're going back almost a decade now. And I had this one agent, his name was Ron Summers. and I'll pick on him because no one knows who he is, with the exception of maybe a few people that were here back then. But he used to get mad at me because the number one agent every week was always me. The number one agent every month was always me. And you just get, it's not fair. Well, what's not fair, Ron? Well, it's not fair. You're supposed to be number one. You're damn right I'm supposed to be number one. And if I can't prove to you that this system works, then what good am I? Does that make sense? You got to be proof of the system. If you want to grow and build your business, now I'm not saying you have to wait until you're a millionaire to start growing and building a business, right? But you have to be all in, plugged in, doing all the right things, singing all the right songs, reading all the right books, following all the same systems of all the other people that are extremely successful. Now, you don't have to raise your hands. Again, a little rhetorical question, but how many of you purchased the book Relentless this month? How many started reading it? How many people read the book of the month last month, the Friday Night Lights book? How many of you guys are on every single conference call, every single meeting? How many of you are calling your upline and your manager every single day for advice on what you're going through? Again, going back to David's quote is, if you want to be a millionaire, act like it. And why I chose to talk about these topics on a day that we're supposed to be talking about recruiting and building, because I'm a big believer that if your mindset is in the right place, the recruiting side of things, the team building side of things, it comes really, really, really easy. But you also have zero chance of being successful if your mindset is not in the right place. And once that is, again, everything else just kind of flows in the right direction. And forget about luck, because you're going to start creating your own luck, or things are just going to start happening. So I'll leave you guys all with that to kind of settle and think about a little bit this week. And I hope this helps get you guys in the right mindset of where you need to be if you want to grow a huge and successful business here at Senior Life Insurance Company in the